Hi folks, you're with Tassus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the use of the very cynical, and quite sinister, I think, use of woke threaten and scare tactics to gain advantage in business or in politics or to gain compliance where it couldn't be done through normal, proper means or through proper channels, such as negotiation or through the courts or whatever. So now these sort of tactics of trying to seize moral high ground and orchestrating, if you like, a situation. We've seen this recently with Twitter or X, as it's now called, where the ADL, it's alleged to were choreographing and orchestrating advertising to be put alongside content they didn't like, and then encouraging advertisers to, in what looks like a very set piece maneuver, by the way, advertisers to pull out of advertising on X. This is a battle that Elon Musk has to win, not only for his own benefit, and he's got what he claims a thermonuclear lawsuit going on, but if he loses, it really will be the end of free speech. Sure, little people will pop up here and there, but they'll be jumped on pretty quickly and taken off air or off circulation or off social media. So the all-powerful propaganda narrative machine run by the globalists will have even greater sway than it does currently. Once they've managed to crush Musk, then people like Tucker Carlson, will also be, next in line for the guillotine. So, anyway, what I wanted to talk about here it was really in business, but having given that background, I've done a number of videos on this. How in business now, if they can't get what they want out of you, they'll use the woke Olympics. You've upset a member of minority, and you're a Nazi and this sort of thing. So this is now so widespread and so casually, and just shows how corrupted the whole idea and the whole movement, if you like, has become. No one gives a flying fuck about the minorities. They don't give a shit. It's all optics. It's all theatrics. It's all virtue signaling and gaining some sort of advantage in business. So now I saw this coming a little while ago. I was sounded out by a client, and we'd contracted to do a body work over a period of time for a certain amount of money, and we'd committed to this. And if they want to opt out of the contract, they can at any time. They've just got to pay us out. They've either give us 2 weeks' notice or pay us out for the expenses we'd incur over those 2 weeks, because we commit 2 weeks ahead to the people we use. So if they pull the trigger on sort of within 5 minutes notice, then we might have 2 weeks of paying 100 people. So we're not going to expose ourselves to that sort of potential loss. Now, there's a clause in the agreement which I wrote, which is fairly tight, but if you took a super broad sort of view on it, you could use this one, where if something illegal happens and that illegality is down to us, and it could be proven so in a court of law and this sort of thing. Typically, they've got to drag it through the courts first and get a verdict before they can use it against us, or we negotiate an exit. Now, I'm happy to negotiate, but the agreement's very clear, and they've signed on it. They read it. We've discussed it. They've signed on the customer. They've signed on for it that you either pay us out for the 2 weeks, and there's a schedule of rates and pay and costs there, so they know how much it's going to be, or you give us 2 weeks notice. Either one, it's fine with me, and that means that we all part company friends and lots of kisses and hugs all around and that sort of thing. So that's the way, of course, I'd prefer it. So we get sanded out, and I got that sensation that they were, something was in the moving in background where they wanted the option of pulling out with 5 minutes notice. I just got that sense. Nothing was said directly or even indirectly. I just got that, the murmurings and the slight changes in that, and you've got to sort of keep your eye on the tempo of things to pick up these possibilities, which I did, and that was what they wanted to do. So they then came to me and said, okay, well, we want out. Why don't we just call it quits today and go our separate ways? I said, well, no, you've signed an agreement, and again, we've discussed everything. You got to pay us out for 2 weeks, or you got to give us 2 weeks' notice. I mean, if you want us to go today, fine, but you got to pay us out the 2 weeks. So it was obvious they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to give us one penny more, and so there were a couple of sort of murmurings about, well, your work's not really up to scratch, and we're concerned about that. So fine, well, let's have a look at that work. You say not up to scratch. Let's look at it, and if there is a problem, we'll remediate it free of charge, assuming it's our problem. But no, they don't want to go down that path. Well, why do we have to show you? Well, you do. Again, we'll remediate free of charge. If you say there's a work that's not up to scratch and up to the quality, then I'd like to see what it is. If that's the accusation, can you put that in writing? Oh, I haven't got time to put it in writing. So the whole thing's bullshit, and so they want to get out of it. So I said no. So I said no. Again, it's that you've signed the contract. We discussed it. Very, very clear. You pay us out, or you give us 2 weeks' notice. Either one's fine with me. And I strongly recommended they went down that path. Otherwise, the situation could become unpleasant, and then we're not on speaking terms, and nobody wins out of that situation. No, I don't want to pull out the look. I'll sue the fuck out of you if you don't behave. I want to go down that path because that instantly creates two warring parties, and it's bad blood, that sort of thing. So I don't like to do that. They're getting a little bit bolshy with the threats, but there's no point in me doing that. So I'm hesitating on this. Now, I did this a few videos ago, like a week or so ago. I did two videos actually on how these ambushes in the workplace or anywhere can happen, where they'll come at you with an ambush and say you've done something morally wrong, in the Nazi type style. You've upset the black lesbian, or you've upset the trans person. You've acted inappropriately. You've done, So they'll be slightly vague on it, but they'll come at you. Now look. We don't want to call the police straight away. We just thought we'd talk to you first. They'll try that. So scare the shit out of you. Now they went after these same guys that want to bullshit their way out of the contract without paying. Remember, all they have to do is honour the terms of the contract. That's all they have to do. But they can't do that. They think, no, we can get out of this. I know. Let's accuse them of upsetting the black lesbian. So that's the go. So that's how far political correctness, affirmative actions. That's how far it's gone into the gutter. That cynical, dickhead business executives or lawyers, or it doesn't matter. There's a whole range of people out there that want to use this or use these sorts of things as a springboard for their their malevolent views and so on. So. Anyway, we've got a younger guy on staff, and he comes from like a pretty strict sort of family, and very domineering mother and so on. So he won't make he would die rather than offend somebody. He's kind of that sort of guy, and so they decided they decided he was the weak link in the chain, or would be the easiest one to intimidate. Maybe is a better way of putting it. So they come at him and. Well, we've heard you've spoken and behaved very, very inappropriately to a member of our staff who's a minority, and look, it's very serious, Billy Bob. We haven't called the police yet. Our lawyers have not been. And we just thought we'd talk to you first, but this is a very serious matter, as you can imagine. And I've just left the meeting with the person, and they're crying, little tears. So this is how bad you are, you fucking Nazi. You've made the black lesbian cry, black trans lesbian cry. You're Hitler. You are fucking Hitler. So anyway, they do the lawyers, the police, and this and that. Now, so if you saw this guy and you can imagine he'd have blushed triple crimson, and he'd have been jabbering, and he would have again he would sort of burst out in tears himself at all this stuff. And now the thing is that there has been no inappropriate behaviour. No one's been spoken. That there is no. They've invented absolutely. Jussie Smollett. They've invented the whole thing. And by keeping it vague enough, now I just generally I've trained this guy, and we've actually I've sat him down, we role played this, saying, okay, when if someone comes at you this one, I figured he'd be the one they'd most likely go after. But if they come at you with this sort of thing, you've got to agree with them that it's very serious. You must do that first. Agree, yes, it's very serious, and I want to help. Thank you for coming to me. You must thank them, because that'll disarm them. They won't know what to do. That if you think, because they want that impact, that ambush that hit you hard from when you're not looking, and disorientate you and have you sort of bewildered and what the fuck's going on. So that's what they want. That's the impact they want there. So you've got to thank them for doing it, and then ask for facts. Saying, well, can I have the facts? Will you put that in writing and this sort of thing? That'll fuck them up, because there are no facts, because they've invented the whole thing. What they want to do is get him to confess, or go, oh, maybe it was the time when I said to Billie Jean, good morning. Good morning. That's it. Hitler used to say good morning. You fucking Nazi. That's what it was. So you're admitting, Billy Bob, that you did something. You behaved inappropriately, and you upset the black, lesbian, trans. That down the back there. You're admitting it. You're confessing it, aren't you? Well, that's right. All you guys have to be off. We have to get you off site now. What a terrible transgression. Then they can deliver it as a fait accompli. Well, your own employee said that you did. He admitted it. He confessed. He confessed that he is Hitler. So that's the scam that they're pulling. So, but I role played this with him, and if I hadn't drilled it into him, he'd be no match for those guys. He's an innocent compared to those cynical fucks. So we role played it, and I asked for the facts. Thank them again for bringing it to you. Can you have the facts? Say you have to, that you should involve me. And oh no, you don't need to call him. It's all right. No, because they know I'd be all over it. So they won't try that with me, or they will, but they wouldn't get anywhere. So I've role played him, and we've gone through. You have to say no. You have to. No, I can't answer that until I've seen the facts, until I've heard the facts. Well, we don't have to give you facts because you're a Nazi. No, I need the facts. And then you can do some reversals on it. So if they're falsely accusing, you can come back with something. Well, I think this matter should be heard in court, and it should be these facts should come out, and perjury is a very serious offence. People can go to prison for perjury. Telling lies to the judge in court, people can go to prison for that. Conspiracy to commit perjury is a very serious offence. Now that'll scare the shit out of them. You've now reversed it. They don't want to go into court, again, because no issue existed. And if they're going to drag some woman forward, which sometimes they do, and she says, "Oh, he was the one. He tried to rape me," then they don't want that to go into court, because then it'll come out that they conspired with this woman or paid her or whatever to commit perjury in a court and to make false statements and so on. So they don't want that. They want to use the impact of that to scare the fuck out of you, but they don't want it to actually be tested by a lawyer in a court of law. So, and if you've seen aggressive lawyers going after people, it's very hard to maintain the perjury narrative. When you're under, pretty serious, especially by an inexperienced cross-examiner, the perjury will start to come out. And okay, well, who did you conspire with? Who paid you? And then they'll be dragged into court, and so they don't want that. But I wanted to mention it. He stuck to the role play that showing up. No, you must demand facts. Facts. You want facts. And after a while they gave up, and so they didn't lose face. They as he reports it to me anyway. As well, look, I don't think it's a big enough issue. I mean, do Do we need to call the police, Jimmy Jack? No, I don't think so. I think, well, I'm satisfied Billy Bob didn't mean it, and so, oh well, I think we can let it go. But next time, you're in the, and so then they can save face. But so they tried it on, it didn't work, and they're going to have to fucking pay as per the contract that they have scrutinised, read, negotiated, and signed. But I just wanted to say this to illustrate how far these things go and how readily now and how often these things are being used, whether it's, somebody wants to get out of a contract and not pay, or they want to attack Elon Musk, or they want to go after Donald Trump, or they want to go after Alex Jones. It doesn't matter. These are the tactics that they use in the moral high ground, the games that they try and play. You made that little girl cry, you fucking Nazi, and this is how it's played. I mean, just finishing off with this. I remember, particularly as a sort of young man, there were, I'm like late teens or something, and there was a lot of very insecure, some insecure guys were around, and they would try and demonstrate their high worth, or that they had any worth for that matter, by protecting put upon or aggrieved women. So they were there to protect the honour of women, and they would be super tough guys, really hairy chested in that sense, and so what did you say to that woman? And they'd come at you in a sort of I watch scenes like this. They'd come at you in a sort of right in your face way, the shaping up, and you want to have a fight and this sort of thing, because they were alleging that you'd upset some woman, and they were defending this woman's honour, and wow, what a guy. And it's equivalent to sort of in the schoolyard, where there'd always be one kid, I guess, who can, what are you looking at? What did you say to me? You talking to me? That type of approach, which I used to think was quite humorous. I used to think, what a fucking idiot. No, but anyway, that was the. So really, it's I think a wider extension of that, just using a different launching pad. In this case, you upset the black lesbian trans woman, and we're on to you. So I think it's similar, if you like, from a using a moral high ground sort of launching pad. It's a similar sort of thing, I guess, in some ways. You've been fantastic today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.